After building over 2,000 funnels, we have found 9 upgrades that consistently increase conversions by 2x, 5x, even 10x in some cases. I'm sharing the exact strategies we use to optimize lead flow, automate follow-up, and turn cold traffic into qualified buyers. And all based on real builds from the 300 plus businesses we have already worked with. Hi there, I'm Mazen, founder of GoFunnels, and we've built 2,000 plus funnel systems for coaches and agency owners doing anywhere from 30K a month to $1 million a month plus. So let's dive into the 9 tactical upgrades that we're seeing work across the board and how you can implement them today. So funnel upgrade 1 is behavior-based lead scoring. Now, what does that mean? So here at GoFunnels, for example, we don't just guess who's hot, right? We use tagging. So we tag, we segment, and we automate triggers to prioritize leads based on real actions. So I'll give you an example. I got my tablet here so I can draw it out for you. Let's say, for example, we have a lead, all right? So this is a lead. And they schedule a call. So they go through the landing page and they go to the VSL page, right? So they go to the VSL, they watch it, and then they book a call, right? So this is scenario A. This is scene A. That is one option. So they come in, they watch the VSL, they book a call. How do you know if this lead is hot? That's the problem. You don't, because you're not tracking anything. You can't track how much of the VSL he's watched before he books the call. It's going to be very difficult to do that. What you can do is track how much he watches off a thank you page or off a video post booking, because at that point you've captured the lead information and you have sent them to a specific place. So I'll give you an example. So this is scene B. You have a lead, they go through the VSL, right? They schedule a call on the calendar. So they schedule a call on the calendar. So this is just a basic calendar. They pick a time and they schedule a call. Then what happens is they get taken to a thank you page. And now the thank you page can have multiple videos in there. Okay. So we can now see, okay, because we have the details, we can see how long they have watched these videos. Have they watched this 25% of the way through? Have they watched it 50% of the way through? And then not only that, once they've scheduled a call, obviously they're going to get emails sent to them and they're going to get SMSs sent to them. And we can track the open rates, right? So we can see how many emails we've sent. So out of, 3 emails, maybe they have opened all 3. Right? Or maybe they've only opened 1. So we can track the open rate. We can track the same for the SMS. Now, based on this, we can determine whether this lead is a hot lead or a warm lead. Potentially even a cold lead if they don't show up on the call or any of that. Now, why is that important? Because we can tag and segment leads based on their behavior. So a hot lead or a lead that is interacting with us, is opening our emails, is watching at least more than 50% of our videos, they're more likely to close, they're more likely to work with us for a longer period. So if that's the case, then we want to add them into maybe specific nurture sequences. Maybe you want to send them email campaigns that invite them into an offer that's at beta or a better discount, because we know they're more likely to purchase that product or that offer. Either way, because we have been able to segment and tag leads, we're able to then move them into high touch nurture flows or maybe low touch nurture flows, depending on how interested they potentially could be with our product or service. And if you look at the data, actually lead scoring can improve conversion rates by 20% or more when paired with intelligent follow-up. Now, to break this down further, I have asked our lead AI strategist here at GoFunnels to explain how we approach this in our agency. So Atif, obviously you are our AI strategist here at GoFunnels. One thing that's really sticking out to me and a question I really want answered is, how do we define lead scoring, at GoFunnels using tagging and automation?
I think the question of lead scoring needs to really be looked at from the perspective of what data are we collecting from potential customers that would potentially change the approach that you have with them. So I think a lot of the problems you'll find with businesses that come work with us is they don't really understand what the highest leverage data points are to collect from a customer at the point of lead generation. So the example I like giving is, let's say we're an M&A business and we're looking for potential leads of people looking to sell their business. One example of a high leverage data point is the reason that they're looking to sell. That reason could be, for example, they want to retire, or it could be because of a distressed sale. That data point completely changes the way you approach that lead from the beginning. So if they're looking to retire, your messaging is, I can get you the most amount of money as possible. If they're looking for a distressed sale, the messaging isn't about how much money you can get them. The messaging is, I can get you a deal as quickly as possible. So before looking at lead scoring, I always look at how well do we understand the customers? How well do we understand what data points will completely change the approach that we have with them? And then from there, we do segmentation, tagging, and of course, that will result in the approach that changes, whether that's through automations or even for the setting team.
All right, and that brings us to funnel upgrade number 2, and this is one-page funnels. Now, I love one-page funnels because they're short, they're focused, and they're frictionless. Let me give you a quick example of what a one-page funnel actually looks like. So let's get the tablet back out. So here's an example of a simple one-step funnel, right? I mean, I've already showed this to you in a previous video that I've made. Essentially, think of this as a very good mix of a website, a traditional website, and a funnel. So with the traditional funnel, there'll be multiple steps, right? There will be the landing page where the VSL might be or the application might be. Then there'll be a booking page, and then there'll be a thank you page. With a one-step funnel, with a one-page funnel, ideally, it will be only 2 steps. The one pager, so the actual landing page where the booking happens as well, and then a thank you page, because you should always have a thank you page. Don't skip out on a thank you page. It's honestly arguably more important than the landing page. But with a one-step funnel, you can have a structure like this where you have a logo over there. So that could be the logo. And then you can have maybe a couple of buttons. Actually, maybe you can have a call to action button here. So this is actually a nice layout that I would potentially use. And then maybe you can have some titles there. So maybe that could be, about, that could be testimonials, that could be, something else, whatever it may be. Now, again, I would have a nice big heading, always important to have a heading, potentially a subheading as well. And then I'd have my nice big VSL over here. That's my VSL, and a big call to action over there. Okay, and then when I click on any of these buttons, it'll just scroll me down to whatever whatever is on the page. So everything is basically living inside this one page, and it'll just keep scrolling down to that section when you click on any button. Now here's the thing, most of these pages will have the calendar page embedded on the page, and there's 2 ways that could happen. It could be literally the calendar is embedded onto the page itself. So here's the calendar, you pick the days available, and then you schedule that in. So this is an example, right? Or it could be a pop-up. So you click the call to action and a big pop-up comes up, book your slot, you book the slot. But either way, what I'm trying to say is this is a one-pager. Everything is in the one page. And this is actually very popular with the good old classic long form funnels, where it's very, very long funnels, a lot of text. But again, everything that you would need to know about the funnel is in one place. And the call to action will either create a pop-up where you book in a time or you purchase, or it'll just take you to the scroll you to where the calendar section is, or the product section is on the same page where you can make the purchase, and then it'll take you to the next page, which is a thank you page, and that's where it ends for the funnel. So they can be definitely effective when used right. They work quite well for product pages and also maybe for webinar pages as well, to be honest. And we've actually seen that one-page funnels convert up to 40% higher on mobile compared to the traditional multi-step funnels. Now, this doesn't mean that long funnels are dead, but if you're targeting cold traffic or running ads, then simplicity equals scale, right? You don't want to have a very complex funnel with too many steps, because it can cause friction, especially when you start hitting the 3, 4, 5-step funnels. It can be a lot of friction, and you will see a lot of drop off very early on in the funnel. Now, a real life example would be with one of our clients. We did a one pager for them, and that drove like 2x in booked calls when they started working with us, and we saw it was the issue, and we decided, all right, let's rebuild and let's scale this and launch it with a one pager. And yeah, it got 2x booked calls in for them. So that's a very good example of how a one pager is still very, very useful when used in the right context, of course. All right, and that brings us to funnel upgrade 3, strategic video touch points. Now, I love this. This is something I do a lot in GoFunnels and in our personal funnels, to be honest. I love video touch points. So most people stop at the VSL, okay? We don't. We embed personalized videos across the entire journey. Opt-in page, booking page, thank you page, onboarding, and even post payment. I'm serious. I love everyone to see my face. And it's not to do with ego, it's to do with touch points. When they see you, then do you know that feeling, for example, when you watch someone's funnel, let's say like someone like Alex Hormozi, you saw his VSL, you saw him on YouTube, you saw him everywhere, and then you go on the sales call and he's there and he's on the sales call with you trying to close you. You feel, it's kind of like you feel like you've met a famous person, and it may sound a bit weird, but I think you know what I mean because you might have gone through that. And that's the beauty about touch points. When someone sees your face many times and then they end up joining a sales call with you, there's been a level of trust that has been built. When they join the call, their guard is just dropped already. They're not tense, they're not worried it's going to be some random salesman trying to close them. So I think it's very important in two things. Before the point of sale, it builds that trust and those touch points to get them to kind of lower their guard. And then post sale, I think it's very important to have these touch points again to help with buyer's remorse. So once they've purchased a product, especially a high ticket funnel, maybe costing 3, 4, 5, 10 grand, by having an onboarding experience rather than an onboarding page, an onboarding experience where it's guided, you have videos, it's good, it's funny, it just takes that buyer's remorse out because they can see the professionalism and the level of trust you are trying to build in there. And actually, if you look at the data, video on landing pages can increase conversions by up to 86%. All right, let's move over to funnel upgrade number 4, and this is the tripwire or the one-time offer with a countdown. Now, this is the classic countdown, and I'm sure you have seen this in hundreds and hundreds of funnels, especially if you're a business owner. Those countdowns, unfortunately, most of the time, if you just refresh the page, that counter will still start again. But there are times where if you do refresh the page or if you let that counter finish, you have genuinely lost the option of whatever the discount was or whatever the offer was. So obviously stick to the legit countdowns. The ones that are fake, it's quite easy to know if they're fake. You just refresh the screen. But if you do refresh the screen and you see that time in fact has gone even lower, now that's going to create a lot of FOMO, a lot of pressure, and potentially get you to get that purchase much quicker. So where is the best place to offer a one-time offer or a countdown, or put the countdown anyway? I would say the best place to offer a one-time low ticket product is right after an opt-in page. So this is actually quite effective for maybe purchasing a ebook or purchasing a ticket to a webinar. So you get them to fill in the opt-in page, and then you'll take them to a place where they have to actually book in the webinar, and maybe it's a paid webinar, maybe it's a free webinar, but you want to say that, look, spots are filling quick, and maybe you can even, instead of having a timer, it doesn't have to be a timer, it could be something similar. The whole point is you're creating pressure. So it could be like seats filled, and then it's like reducing the number to show that numbers are going, and you're going to miss your spot on this webinar if you don't purchase the ticket right now, as an example. So these are examples of one-time offers. They're good. I think sometimes they can be overused, and the more mature buyer, the more mature marketer, they will know that this is potentially just a way of getting you to purchase, and they may not care. I think there's definitely a time and place for countdown timers and one-time offers. Maybe a better way of using a one-time offer could be in an upsell or a tripwire, and this is actually very common when you look at e-com or funnels that sell a product. When you click add to cart, it'll give you an additional product that you may want to bundle with that product, and that is an upsell. Okay, and actually Amazon do this very well. If you scroll down, usually they have the frequently bought together, and then they have like 3 different products they've put there, and they're saying purchase all of them together for, you know, a couple hundred extra, and that actually adds a lot to the top line, believe it or not. So tripwires and one-time offers and countdowns definitely have a place, but especially with the countdowns, you want to limit them, because the more mature buyer will definitely see through those. That being said, if used properly, countdown timers can increase conversion rates by up to 30%, especially when urgency is real and not fake, like I said. Now, personally, we use deadline funnels or native countdowns inside Go High Level, which is the CRM we love to use. And we do that to add scarcity. And that's what we do for some of our clients, but that's how we monetize lead gen funnels from day one. All right, moving over to upgrade number 5, we have smart segmentation funnels, or I guess a better way of saying that is quiz funnels or application funnels. Now, quiz funnels work, but only when used intentionally. A lot of people use quiz funnels instead of using something like an opt-in. They think that's when it should be used. But here's the thing, something that's very important to understand is you need to use a quiz funnel when there's an outcome you're trying to achieve. If the outcome is just getting their name, their number, and their email, then you might as well just use a basic opt-in page, or you just ask for it, you know, before they book a call on the calendar page. But if you're trying to actually get data and then use the data to give something back to the lead that has filled the application, that is where a quiz/application funnel comes in, and comes in very well. So you want to use them for lead magnets or application filtering, or even maybe market research. But again, you need to reward the leads that fill that funnel with something at the end. You're not just giving it to them for them to fill out and then you collect data. You have to give them something back, because they will put the time and effort to fill in that application or quiz funnel. Now, the beauty of these funnels is because you're collecting a lot of information about the lead, like segmentation is very important. You want to segment these leads, and actually leads segmented through quizzes see a 10 to 30% higher open and click-through rate than ones that aren't. And actually, one of our clients filters out 80% of unqualified leads before the call just through a pre-call quiz page. And yes, that may reduce the actual number of people attending sales calls, but let me ask you this: would you rather have 100 calls a day and only close one person, or would you rather have 10 calls a day and close 7 people? You know, so it's just a matter of who are you targeting and what type of people do you actually want to speak with and close. And if you notice a lot of people who jump on your sales calls are time wasters and tire kickers, then maybe having a very good filtering system to get rid of these time wasters is important, or at least it should be implemented. And one of those ways is via a quiz funnel. And actually, to get more information about these quiz funnels, I've actually asked my lead strategist here at GoFunnels to jump on a quick call with me and tell me more about what he thinks quiz funnels can be used for and where they apply in a business. So let's jump straight into that. So I'm here with Hamza. He's our lead strategist at our team here at GoFunnels. So Hamza, I'm very curious, what makes a quiz funnel more effective versus the more traditional lead forms that people are very often using?
So there's a few things. I do like quiz funnels. I'm a big fan. I think that the amount of information that you can pull using a quiz funnel is a lot more than your average lead form. I think the best way to think about it is if someone was gonna download an ebook, for example, you can only ask them like first name, last name, email address, phone number. And anything more than that, people tend to kind of switch off and kind of leave, right? But with quiz funnels, you can get loads of information out of them, because you're not asking you're asking them to give them a personalized response about something, right? They're going to get a marker on where they're at. So a good way to think about that is like when they're filling out the quiz, they're doing it to understand something more about them or the business, right? So they're going to fill out with the good info. They want to put as much information as they can in there. So the more information that you have coming back from them, it just means that you'll be able to make that sales process way easier. You'll understand potentially, you know, if you put the questions in, their pain points about their business, what they're currently struggling with, where they're currently at financially as well. Like, so you know if they have the right budget. So I like quiz funnels because it really gives you way more information than you know.
Okay, so let's say I'm one of the viewers who are watching this video and I want to create my first quiz funnel. Can you give one tip for anyone who's considering adding a quiz funnel to their arsenal of funnels?
Sure. I think focus on the outcome, just like with the sales page. When we have that dream outcome, focus on the outcome. So focus on, don't ask your users to fill out the quiz. Like, for example, I could say, you know, fill out your I'm going to come back to branding, you know, as the example. Fill out your branding, fill out our branding quiz funnel and get a score out of 100. But that doesn't really mean anything because there's no real outcome, right? Whereas if I say fill out the branding funnel to understand where you're at and how you can become XYZ company, how you could be like Apple, and all the steps you need to take to get there, all of a sudden now there's a bit more of an outcome there. Does that make sense? So focus on the outcome, and that might be not be the best analogy, but I feel like people forget that getting people to fill out a quiz funnel and commit that time, that 5 minutes or so, to actually going through and filling out the whole thing, they've got to give them a good reason to do it. Don't just be like, this is our branding quiz funnel, here you go, fill it out. Really tell them.
That's a good point.
Be able to get out of it at the end of it.
Yeah, because a lot of people will treat a quiz funnel like a lead magnet. It's not about getting the name and email. That's a part of it, but it's about what happens after. If they're putting that time in, like you said, there has to be, first of all, something worth them putting their time in. So you have to come up with something that's a good starting point. Maybe it's come up with a offer, whether it's free or whatever it may be, that actually gets them to want to fill that quiz out in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that was a beautiful call with Hamza. So now let's jump over to upgrade 6, and that is AI enhanced nurture sequences. So we don't write email sequences and hope for the best, okay? We create automations that respond to lead behavior in real time. What does that mean? I'll give you a quick example. We could create an email, or actually coming back to the application funnel, we can create an application funnel. Just as an example, this is actually something we did with one of our clients. They work in personality coaching, right? So one of their application funnels was fill out this application so we know your personality type. And obviously in the back end, we created the form and the automation so that depending on how they answer the questions, we calculate their personality type. And then depending on what their personality type is, that's how we personalize the email campaigns and the SMS campaigns. We create the copy for that campaign, or at least the AI creates the copy for that campaign to be relevant to their personality type. So very impressive and very interesting. And actually doing it this way can increase the open rates by up to 122% compared to the generic sequences that everyone sends out, you know, the generic nurture sequences. So this is actually very powerful for really making the lead feel like you're speaking to them rather than you're speaking to everyone that's in your newsletter, if that makes sense. Another example is, you know, again, if someone watches 80% of a video that you have sent them, but doesn't book a call, you know, you have to trigger the right follow-up. So by using AI nurtured sequences, you can segment them again and make sure the right follow-up is triggered for someone who's watched 80%. And that could be something a bit more different in terms of the copy than someone who's maybe only watched 25 or 50% of the video that you sent over to them. Let's give you another example. Let's say someone clicks on a product page, they click add to cart, but they don't complete the checkout. I mean, this is something we're all familiar with. You will get a abandoned cart notification, which is basically an email saying, hey, you've left these items in your cart. Do you want to keep going? And actually, maybe depending on the amount on the cart or the value of the cart, the follow-up sequence could be different. Maybe if you have an order in the cart above $100, maybe it could be like, you know what, here's a 20% discount for that. If you have less, maybe you could incentivize them with free shipping instead, whatever it may be. So these are just tactics that we have seen work and that we use for some of our clients. And actually, to break this down further, I have asked our lead AI strategist to come back again so we can get some overview on what he thinks about AI nurtured sequences. So Atif, what makes AI enhanced nurture sequences different from the standard drip campaigns that most business owners might be used to doing?
So once again, you know, when I answer these questions, I'm not going to give you an answer you expect, an answer that might necessarily be what everyone else says, because we're sort of in the trenches and we sort of see how people are trying to use AI and what actually works and what doesn't. One of the biggest misconceptions people have when using AI is they attempt to replace the human experience. And so they'll use AI to deceive people that it's a human interacting. And the moment you try to do that, you dig a hole that you're not going to get out of, because then you have to keep building on top of it. And you keep building to use AI to fake a human rather than using AI to actually help with the lead nurture or even acquisition process. So when using AI, the important thing to caveat is we're not looking to replace the human experience. There's only one of two areas you can use AI effectively for sequences. Number one, and again, it comes back to how much volume are you really dealing with? If you're not dealing with a lot of volume, the benefits of having someone engage with the lead manually to begin with, to gather primary data about what's working and what's not, far outweighs the benefit of having AI in that process. The moment you actually know what's working and what's not, qualification is an extremely important part of AI, using it to quickly disqualify people that aren't qualified, or even gathering more high leverage data points that will help you with the eventual sale. And number two, reducing time to value. And that's not necessarily AI conversation, that could also be AI tooling that helps deliver quick, valuable assets to a customer that basically act like a jab before the punch. So AI offers an unprecedented way for you to offer really quick value and reduce that time to value while building what you call trust and reciprocity. I'll give you one example. So a customer of ours is a web development agency, and when they reach out to, when leads come onto their site, their time to value is extremely short because they give them an instant report on their website, and they've hooked it up with an AI tool that's going to automatically generate the report, generate the insights, and send it to the customer with a white labeled report. And so that's how you sort of give value in a very short amount of time before building up to the key offer.
Awesome, that's beautiful. Thank you for that. And now we can move on to the seventh upgrade hack, and that is... Okay, moving on to upgrade 7, the referral and affiliate flows. Now, referral and affiliate flows are so important, and most businesses sleep on this. But what does it mean? I mean, I've seen so many businesses scale just through the affiliate programs and the referral programs. So especially if you're offering an info product or a service that other people can benefit from and your leads know who these people are, it's very important to offer some sort of referral scheme or affiliate reward scheme so they can bring you these leads and get compensated for it. I mean, referral marketing has been there for ages, right? And it generates 3 to 5 times higher conversion rates than the standard channels. That's because when a lead goes to his best friend who's a business owner and says, man, I've been using GoFunnels, or, I've been using ABC business for 3 months. These guys are amazing. You need to try them out. That lead is most definitely going to work with you, or at least want to jump on that sales call. They're much more hot than a lead that's just seen you on Facebook on an ad, So actually creating a powerful referral system for your leads, as well as a powerful referral landing page, actually, so that they can send that referral to a landing page that's for referrals. And that talks to referrals, I think, is also very important. Actually, one of our coaching clients doubled their monthly recurring revenue just by building a refer a friend backend inside their Go High Level, which we help set up for them. All right, let's move over to upgrade number 8. So this is funnel upgrade 8, and we're talking social proof widgets. So basically proof, social proof, simple, effective, but overlooked. If I could tell you how important testimonials are, if you can get video testimonials, even better. If you look at our site, for example, it's flooded with video testimonials, and we work with agencies and coaches, so you can tell that this is some legit stuff. If agency owners who are doing 30, 40, 50, 100K plus are leaving video testimonials, this is legit, right? So that's how people should feel when they look at your funnel. If you're selling a product, get people to take pictures of that product. If you're selling a service, get people to talk about how that service has changed their life. Yes, text screenshots work and those are good, but the next level above that is video. But of course, if you can't get the video, then the text is definitely the next best thing. And actual real-time social proof can lift conversion rates by up to 15% by creating instant trust and urgency. Now, Another new way of proof is this real-time proof that I just talked about. And this is like using platforms like Proof, Trustpulse, or FOMO. And actually a new way of using social proof is by this new live social proof, real-time social proof. And you can do that with using platforms like Trustpulse or FOMO to display real-time activity. For example, let's say you have a webinar or a book funnel, and at the bottom you'll keep seeing pop-ups, Sarah just purchased the book, or Sarah just booked a call. So these real-time notifications on the funnel to show you that someone else has done what you're thinking about doing definitely helps build FOMO and also trust, because first you're thinking, oh wow, someone else is also on here doing what I want to do. And especially if you have a kind of setup where you have like slots, so maybe it's for a webinar call, and then every time a notification comes, maybe like the number of slots left keeps going down, like, oh man, that will increase conversions like crazy, I can imagine. That's actually what we did for some of our clients, and it did work quite well. And this isn't magic, right? It's just basic conversion psychology. If you make someone feel like they're missing out, or that something is actually becoming more scarce, then they have a higher chance of clicking the call to action and going to the next step, and that will definitely increase your conversion rates. And that brings us to our final funnel upgrade, and that is funnel upgrade 9, follow-up funnels that actually convert. So most people think a funnel ends at the thank you page, but the truth is it doesn't, right? There's the onboarding flows, the payment confirmations, the client dashboards, and all of it matter. And one thing I love telling people especially is the first 24 hours, that experience, especially when someone has purchased something, they matter like crazy, because that's going to determine whether that client stays with you for months on end or they leave after the trial month. Okay, that experience matters. And 80% of B2B decision makers say a personalized post-sale experience influences repeat business. So it's very important. In fact, in GoFunnels, we literally hired a team member whose sole job is to make sure that first 24 hours is the best experience they have, from the calls they enter, the kickoff calls, the onboarding experience, everything. And that's why people stay with us, because they love how we take care of them and how we make it so personal. And it's very important that you do that for your business as well. And if you don't have the ability to get a team member, it could be something as simple as, again, determining what type of client they are or what purchase they've made, sending them emails and SMS sequences that are automated but feel like they're targeted towards them. What's stopping you from setting up a text with backed by ChatGPT that understands the context of the lead and sends a personalized message to them? Maybe it's for a weight loss plan. Hey John, I'm glad you joined our weight loss plan. We're going to make sure you lose 30 kilos in 70 days or 90 days, just as we discussed, just as planned. And we're going to be with you along the journey to make sure everything works well. Like, if you get a message like that just after you purchase a program, like, you're gonna be ready, you're gonna be motivated to go in and work hard. So you want to create those kind of follow-up sequences post-purchase to really build experience and make them keep wanting to come back for more. And there you have it. These 9 hacks are working right now, but they will not last forever. Guys, you need to understand, AI is catching up. It is making everyone at the same level. It is leveling the playing field. You need to be fast in the game of business. It's not even about speed anymore, because AI can get things executed. It's just about who quickly executes and keeps making mistakes and trying over and over and over again. So please, I urge you, there's no point in watching all this if you're not going to go away with anything. So please pick 1 or 2. It doesn't even have to be 2. Just pick 1 of the 9 hacks I've showed you today and go and implement it right away. Go start working on it, go start building it, and go start implementing it right away. With that being said, please drop down in the comment which hack you will be implementing. Tell me a little bit about your business. What is your offer? I'd love to check out your website and take a look at your funnel as well. If you did get value and content from this video, please drop a subscribe and a like. It'll help with the algorithm, push my channel out there as I'm trying to scale it. So that being said, guys, no more wasting time. Don't watch me build my dream. Go and build your own. I'll see you in the next video.